The book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 65. So you have dealt well with your servant, O Yahuah, according to your word. Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I have believed your commandments. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now have I guarded your word. You are good, and you do good. Teach me your ways. The proud have forged a lie against me, but I will guard your precepts with my whole heart. Their heart is as fat as grease, but I delight in your Torah. It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn your ways. The Torah of your mouth is better unto me than thousands of gold and silver. Shalom, Yashua, Elder DFG. You know, brothers and sisters, I awakened this morning. It's early, January 30th, and wasn't sure whether or not I would have anything to share before Shabbat on tomorrow, Yah willing. And like, as sure as the sun is bright, you know, Yahuah says man plans, and he laughs at their plans. That's the saying, but there's something to it. You know, but in reflection and prayer and thinking and meditation and self-evaluation and, you know, trying to make sure that I'm always seeking Yahuah for instruction, seeking Yahuah for knowledge, and then seeing, you know, the manifestation of his blessings come right back. As I mentioned to some of you, that the surroundings here will be changing sooner than later, but it's going to be a little bit later than sooner, because Yahuwah's will is being done. Yahuah is showing himself strong, you know, over and over because of obedience. And as David says, you know, your Torah to me is worth more than 1,000 pieces of silver and gold. As I put in the title, a lot of, you know, people today, a lot of our brethren today, some are happy, some are sad, and some are, you know, somewhere in between. Should I have gold? I wish I had gold. Should I have silver? I wish I had some silver. I can't afford silver. And yes, the prices of, you know, going up and getting higher and higher. And although, you know, I'm not giving any financial advice, I'm not an economist, so I don't do that. But I can share my own personal thoughts about how I live my life. And my life, you know, is aligned with Yah's will and Yah's purpose. Even in the times when I did not quite know Yahuah, you know, I knew that there was something more important than, you know, having, you know, all the money in the world, so to speak. I always thought, Yahuah, if I could just have enough to take care of myself and take care of my responsibilities, I'd be happy. And there were many times I had it and I was totally unhappy, because I put, as the old saying goes, the cart before the horse. I put my needs before Yahuwah's will. And this is what David is sharing with us when he talks about silver and gold. And I thought it'd be very appropriate, and I'm sure this reason that Yahuwah gave me this word this morning is to talk to my brothers and sisters. Because there's a lot of anxiety out there, a lot of things that are happening, and people are going to be facing some real harsh reality real soon. You know, you're looking, I've talked about it already, about the housing of urban development. Many of you know it as HUD here in America. How that now the government has suspended any housing to someone who is not here as a certified citizen of this United States. Legally here is what that means. And now they're challenging everyone who has government assisting housing, whether it be in housing projects or, you know, independent housing, to be able to prove within the next 30 days that you're an American citizen legally here, or you're going to be evicted. And if the landlord does not evict them, then the landlord is going to lose all of the subsidies that they get for being a part of the program. So that means they're going to have homes with no tenants, which means they're not going to be able to pay their mortgages in more cases than not. And that's just one of many examples of what's going on, because Yahuah, again, has now, he's correcting, self-correcting now. He's using, the judgment of his power to self-correct. He's going to destroy this earth. You're following this channel. The name of this channel is named appropriately. But he's going to destroy it. And all of those who have been valuing or chasing things, chasing a bag, as they like to say, are going to realize that it was fool's gold. They thought that having money would identify them with success. Money would give them rest. Money would give them the ability to reach out and touch someone, or at least to be respected by someone. And many are about to find out the hard way it was all just an illusion. When David said he said the strength, I'll say it again, let's read it. But I don't know. He said, the Torah of your mouth is better than 1,000. He said silver and gold, but you can say pieces of silver and gold, or ounces of silver and gold, however you want to say it. David is saying that no, all the treasures, all the money in the world, all the things in the world, he said, of all those things, and you can evaluate, or you can measure all those things. You can look at all those things and compare all those things to your Torah, and none of them stack up. I'm going to share a story with you about two men in a moment, as evidence of that fact. But many, again, as I stated, who were taught, chasing a bag. If you get enough money, you can have the things that you want. Only to find out that, those things that many of the people wanted turned out to be things that, could never give them the peace, the happiness, and definitely, the assurance of where they're going to spend eternity in terms of Yahuah's blessings. I'm going to study that out on tomorrow. We're going to be in one of the Apocryphal books on Shabbat to help bring some clarity to what is going to happen in even deeper detail. For all of those out there, all of you out there who are listening to these scammers, I believe personally that this whole thing with silver and gold, by the way, is a big, pump and dump. If you know what a pump and dump is, then you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what a pump and dump is, it's they artificially inflate a product. Tell people about the scarcity of that product. There's not a lot of it. You better get it now. And the holders of the majority of it watch as those who are trying to get more of it continue to inflate the price. And then at some point, when they get that price high enough, they dump what they have, cash what they have in, that they bought maybe at $30 or $10, and now it's selling, for example, silver over $100, and they're making $80, $90 per ounce, while you stuck with a $90, ounce of silver that nobody's going to want. It's going to be too high. They'll bring it back down about $80, and now you're $10 underwater. You paid $90, it's trading for $80. It's the same thing happened with the prime loan scam, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, back in the housing manipulation that went on in the early 2000s. See, these are old behaviors just showing up in different ways. And because most of our people never take the time to research in terms of what's the motivation, they'll go back and say, well, no, look, Elder, look at the trend. You can see the trend. Well, men determine that. Men can influence trends, brothers and sisters, especially in the stock markets, investment markets. That's exactly what they do. That's their job. If someone works in the financial market his job is to sell. Because the more sales he makes, the more commission he's going to make, the more money you're going to pay. And at the end of the day, he has no skin in the game of what happens to you. He already got his money on the front side. The people who buy low, sell high, they already have their money. And they leave a bunch of, unlearned individuals sitting there, again, holding the bag that they thought, was worth something. Hosea said it better. Hosea, he said they put their money in bags with holes in it. Hosea 1:6. So Yahuah loves Yasharel so much that he put this honest prophet right before you to tell you the truth. I can sit here and tell you go buy gold and go buy silver and, all these wonderful things. Your dreams will come true. But I'd be lying. In our book, Sirach 20 and 25, so Yahuah hates a liar as much as he hates a thief. He said a thief and a liar. He said a liar might be a little less harmful than a thief, but they're both going to be destroyed. We live amongst liars and thieves who work in these government systems, who work in these financial systems, the educational system, the church system. We talked about this many times. The medical industry. We know the lies and the pump and dump they did with this. Y'all remember that one? Do. Oh, well, it really wasn't that bad. And, whatever. You go ask some of them people who listen to them how they feel about it. And just like there was a lot of warnings out there back then telling people no. And I was one of those voices. Most of you didn't listen. And now you're questioning Yahuah, you're questioning everybody. Instead of trusting Yahuah and trusting his word and trusting his Torah. Because this book clearly tells us in the book of Sirach chapter 38, say, yes, I'm going to give you a physician. And that particular physician, I will empower him with the ability to bring forth my grace, to bring forth my mercy to my people. As long as my people are being obedient, listening and following his instruction, because I'm going to tell him what to tell them. If you were with us this past Wednesday night, we studied in the book of 1 Kings, chapter 17 and 18, about the prophet Elijah, and how everyone who listened to Elijah was blessed in one form or another. Many of them escaped death for him, and Yah was true to his word. When the people did what they were supposed to do, Yahuah did his part to bless those people. A woman, a governor, and then ultimately Israel. But they all had to put Yahuah's word first. They had to put the commandment first. They had to follow the direction, the instruction that they were given by that prophet. Read it, 1 Kings chapter 17. Just read the first verse, and you'll see Ahab, the king at that time, talking to Elijah, the prophet at that time. And Elijah said, I'm going to tell you something. You need to hear what I got to say to you. And then he went on and said, Yahuah told me to tell you. And everything he told him came to pass. Everything he told Yasharel to do, ultimately they did it. And they went from having 3 years of famine and death and diseases and plagues, you name it, to having hurricane force rains, because, we know when Elijah in chapter 19, when he was leaving the city, the rain had come. And then later on in 19, he left the city in 18 and 19 transitioned. He's a day away in the wilderness, and there's an earthquake, and there's a thunderstorm, and there's all these things happening. So when Yahuah pours that rain and bring that rain down on you, you're going to be blessed. You're going to be so glad that you listen to the prophet. God's prophet, not any prophet, not no prophetess, the one prophet that Yahuah is using for his people at the given time that he assigns. And you'll know them by their works. Deuteronomy says that. He said, if that prophet says that, thus says Yahuah, and it does not come to pass, then he said, then don't listen to that prophet or prophetess, because you got to throw that in here now. He said, but if that prophet tells you that thus said I, and it come to pass, you hear that prophet. And he said, if any prophet tell you that I told them to say something and I didn't tell them, he said, that prophet is going to die. He's going to kill your ass. Or their asses, sorry. And he's going to get them. They think, well, I ain't dead yet. No, you dead because Yahuah long ago left you alone. Not talking to you. You doing all that talking. You're looking for an audience. And where there's a production, a stage production, there's always going to be an audience sitting over there applauding like little seals. Give me a fish. Oink, 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 oink. Give me a fish. Yonk, yonk, yonk. Y'all know how they do. But when it comes down to Yahuah's prophet, it's going to be some fire. It's going to be straight talk. It's going to be harsh and sometimes brutal. But if you can weather the storm, you'll get the blessings. So we talked about that. So Yahuah is true to his word. When David said that the power of his Torah is worth more than 1,000 pieces of silver and gold, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it means. There's no conflation. And I'm saying the same thing too, you, my brothers and sisters. It's a pump and dump. They're artificially inflating the price, saying that China is not going to give it to America. You know how many billions of dollars China would give up? China is the #1 debt holder of America's debt. China. Not America. China holds America's, the #1 country that's holding the majority of the debt, the trillions of dollars of debt this country has. China is the #1 country that holds that debt. What did it look like? Creating a situation where all that money they owe, they're going to lose money by saying we're not going to send America silver. We're going to keep it all to ourselves. Well, that's what they said, Elder. Yeah, and they lie. Governments lie. How do you know when a government official is lying? As soon as they open their mouth. Then they take that pen and paper and give you legislation. Say, see. But see, if you live long enough, you realize what's on that pen and that particular, what's written by that pen and paper or typed up or however they came up with their documents, you realize they can change that just as sure as they can change a pair of dirty underwear. After all, they wrote it. But what they do, they bombard you with information and bombard you, brothers and sisters, with all of these successes. And you get the Dows and you get all these other little heathens, the Warren Buffetts and everybody else. And they're all talking about Canadian pepper. And all our people are, oh yeah. And all of that rabbit rhetoric, you end up getting bitten by those rabid dogs. That they hear nothing but to exploit you. Matter of fact, Elijah said they were what? Dumb, greedy, dirty dogs. Never can have enough. So no matter how much they get, they want more. And where you think they're going to get it from? They're going to get it from every single person that's out there trusting what they are saying versus those of us who are trusting what Yahuah is saying. And this is what David said. He said, the Torah of your mouth is greater than 1,000 pieces of silver and gold. So they can raise the price and lie about the scarcity of it and tell you that China is not gonna send anymore. It's all lies. They can conflate it about electrical cars. Elder heard it. Elder knows it all. This is Yah's prophet. Why wouldn't I know? How you gonna evaluate silver off of the dollar, gold off of the dollar, and then tell us the dollar is worthless? How many of us heard the dollar's not worth the paper it is printed on, but yet everybody's chasing the dollar. The government is chasing dollars. Hell, Trump is sending the military all over the world. And it's not just Trump. Again, he's the idiot. He's the useless idiot or the useful idiot. He's just doing what he's told, brothers and sisters. Harris would have did the same thing, probably worse, to be told. He's an idiot. She's a bigger idiot. But with the most powerful military, in the world at their disposal, with the Zionists backing them up, Netanyahu and that group, his comrades, and I'm not just talking about the Jewish, I'm talking about the Zionists. Ain't no way. Aretha Franklin has a song, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. And I can leave it right there. Ain't no way. they gonna dump that dollar unless you're the United States say you're gonna come up with something better than it. And we're gonna control that too. You could be a part of BRICS. You could be a part of, your own, World Bank. You can create your own World Bank. You can be the United Nation of Africa. So you can be whatever you call yourself, anything you want. A monkey could call himself a giraffe. But at the end of the day, he still got to wipe his own ass. So for all that talking and all that, rhetoric, brothers and sisters, is just another way to get your mind off of what's the most important thing that we should be focused on right now. And that's Yahuah's Torah, Yahuah's word. You got a lot of folks, again, they're going to get evicted, and some of them are going to lose their jobs. Some of them are going to lose, whatever little resources they have because they're trusting in the wrong thing. They're chasing, or they were trained to chase the bag. Think about it, brothers, especially in early 2020. What they'll get in the bag, Instagram models, Instagram fan, Instagram this, TikTok this, you name it, they were doing it. Whatever, out of nowhere came up a bunch of, what you call them, brothers and sisters? Ghetto superstars. The white trash came up as well. Because everybody was getting subsidized by the government. The very government that's not here to help you is here to control you. They were always, all of them getting sent them. Don't go to work. Stay on PPP, this or that, payroll protection, whatever. And they were just getting that money and pushing that money out, getting it. And everybody was, having a slice of the pie. And then one day they looked around and realized, what the money is dried up. It's like, when Elijah had gone out to the brook, Yahuah told Elijah in 1 Kings chapter 17, brothers. So he said, I want you to go leave the city because there ain't going to be no rain. It's going to be famine. It's going to be bad. It's about to go down. And he's saying that to us again, by the way, brothers. So it is about to go down. But for the sake of teaching this lesson on silver and gold or whatever you think is more greater than Yahuah's word, for a while, he went over to a river, and the river, Yahuah had a raven to give him flesh and to give him, bread so that he could eat. But after a while, it all dried up. And Yahuah said, okay, now it's time to move again. That's why you should never be afraid to uproot. If you're trusting in Yahuah, then trust in him completely. And so when it ran out, he told him, now I'm going to send you to a place, and there's going to be a widow. And when you get there, ask her for what you want, and she's going to provide it. And in return, she's going to be blessed, her and her family. And you'll be sustained, because I'm not giving them no more rain. And see, the same thing is happening now. So all these folk who had all that extra surplus money, this government, creating dollars, surplus money. And so they were spreading it around. Keep you sitting down. Keep you sitting at home. Keep you comfortable. Like the frog in the pot, you know what I'm saying? Y'all heard, some of y'all know that little metaphor where they put a frog in the pot and that's not a metaphor, by the way. You put a frog in the pot on the stove, you let him put in that water's cold, and you turn the fire up slowly on the burner, and that frog will sit in there, and eventually, he'll realize that the water is no longer cold, it's boiling, but now, because of the shock of the sudden shock of it hit him unaware, his body's reactions now have become paralyzed, and he ends up boiling to death. And this is what's going to happen to many of those out there, many of you, for not listening to what this word is telling you to. See, what's going to happen is going to catch you suddenly. That's why I mean you're going to die suddenly. That's what I was saying earlier. Yahuah said that any prophet that uses his word, and he didn't tell that prophet, he said they will die. What he's saying is that. Yahuah said if they had any chance of being redeemed, it's done. Any so-called prophets, a woman of God or some man of God or whatever the hell they call them damn selves, any title will do. Redirecting the school of wisdom, Just anything they could come up with to sell you something, to get you caught up, to get you not thinking, oh, look at this and look at that. Oh, and look how the white man is. And oh, look how the black man. Oh, Esau getting it down. Oh, Esau this and Esau that, while Esau still eating and your ass still starving. Listen to them talking about how Esau getting it. It's all magic, enchantment. Again, to get you chasing an illusion, to get you chasing something that the Creator made instead of chasing the one who made it. Think about that. And again, if silver is being evaluated on $1 and gold is being evaluated on $1, then if the dollar is worth nothing and silver is worth nothing, then how? Come on. I don't think I have to explain that any further. If you can't see it, it's because you don't want to see it. Or you're probably one of those, individuals who are benefiting from it. So of course you're going to deny. What's it saying? It's hard to get a man to go against something when his livelihood depends on him, not going against it. Even if it is a lie, a woman, same thing applies. So I expect them to tell you the truth. This Torah is the truth. And if that man or anyone that's talking to you, particularly and primarily man, because Yahuah gave dominion to the men, even though men have long ago shunned that, they deflect the responsibility. They don't want the responsibility. Isaiah chapter 3 talks about that. The man said, well, you got it better than me. You living better than me, elder. Elder, your life is better than my life, so why should I support you, elder? Because Yahuah is judging your ass, and that's why your life is so piss poor, and that's why you're attacking, an innocent man who has nothing to do with your harm, your situation. Tell me what the hell I have to do with that. And because you're so rebellious and whatever, excuse making and just selfish, your situation will never change. And because I'm just the opposite of you, mine will change according to Yah's will for me. You see, I respect his Torah. I respect his word. I live by this Torah. I live by this word. And all the silver and the gold will never get me away from this word. Because I understand silver and gold come from the earth. It's a mineral. I know who created the earth. Therefore, I know that whatever I need, that same creator who created silver and gold, he'll make sure I get what I need too. So no. If I was a financial advisor, and I'm not, you would never, ever hear me telling you to go buy silver or buy gold or anything else they tell you that's valuable, diamonds, whatever it might be. Go buy something and go back and try to resell it. Truth hidden in plain sight. But what did Jeremiah say, my brothers and sisters? He said that they were with the fools. He said the fools won't have eyes to see. The fools won't have ears to hear. He said because they're going to be suddenly destroyed. Because when they heard, or the truth was there for them to hear, better said, they didn't want to hear it. They rejected. They ran for it. They blamed somebody else. Oh, you just trying to scare us. Oh, you just trying to rob me. Oh, you just trying to, enrich yourself. And you sit there, you look at them and say, well, my work don't count. And of course, for them, no, it doesn't count. Against the rock, call them dead because they're a slothful man. They want to sit on their asses and point fingers at everybody about their situation, their condition. But they never want to be held accountable for the decisions that they are making every single day, which is more than likely poor decisions, no decisions, or corrupted decisions. Like Yahuah's going to bless your mess. Ain't going to happen. So they can conflate, they can lie, they can say whatever they want to say. I'm telling you, my dear brothers and sisters, chasing the bag is going to be a horrible, horrible outcome for you. Because you're going to realize all that running, all that gunning, all of that desperation is going to matter not at all. All for nothing. So the Yahuah want us, taking and investing in silver and gold, investing in silver and gold, investing. You think our elders would have been doing that? Investing in the investment markets, financial markets. The government's controlling them, educational systems controlling them, medical institutions controlling them. The religion of the heathens controlling them. You think they would have been so naive, for lack of a better word? Not those who were being blessed, not when they were in their strength. No way. Solomon said it. He said, the blessing of Elohim make a man rich and add no sorrow with it. Wealth of the wicked is stored up for the just. So why would he go chasing after the wicked for what the wicked, value? Not a righteous man, not a righteous woman. Your heart will be set upon doing Yahuwah's will. Because, in there's all the treasure. Again, as David said, he says, worth 1,000 pieces of silver and gold. So I wouldn't have nothing to do with it, but that's just my personal opinion, and I'm not a financial. Again, I'm going to say it one more time for you little heathen, wicked little devils. Don't misunderstand. I follow this book. I follow Yahuah. So if I was going to dedicate, whatever resource I had, it would be towards the work of Yahuah. Because then I know there'll be dividends. It will be profitable to me. The hooksters, the hawksters, the con men, the con women, the gangsters, the mafia, your governments would have no power. Your corporations would have no power to control my outcome. But let's go to, two individuals that I think would bring us some clarity on actually good examples of this. Let's go over to the book of Joshua, brothers and sisters. Let's go over to chapter 12. As a matter of fact, let's start at chapter 11. I'm going to read down a few verses, and then we're going to kick in a little bit further, and then we're going to kick all the way in to the end. I just want to show you how blessings happen to those who have their minds right, and how people get taken advantage of when they listen to people who don't serve Yahuwah interest. Okay, Joshua chapter 11. I'm going to start reading at verse 51. And this is Abraham going back and forth with his father. Abraham going back and forward with King Nimrod. After Abraham has destroyed the heathen gods that his father was worshiping, exposed religion to his father, and said, this Jesus, Yahuwah, this foolishness, New Testament, these laws, these decrees, these things that they got you doing is nothing but a form of manipulation, Father, and it's controlling. These gods have no goddamn power other than the power you give them, Father. You could have did that without that. And I'll say it's the same thing to many of you. You already talking about, God bless you or somebody bless you. Ain't nobody bless you. That's what you doing. You could have did that without nothing. You ain't changed one bit and talking about Yahuwah bless you. Please. When the last time you trusted Yahuwah on anything? Completely. even to the last penny. The righteous always will. They could care less about that. They're focused on doing the work of Yahuah or making sure Yahuah works gets done. And then, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So here it is, remember David said the Torah of Yahuah, right, brothers and sisters? Now this is Abraham's behavior. Now Abraham was taught the Torah by Shem and Noah. His, elders or grandparents, really great-grandparents. He spent almost, 40 years of his life with them. But anyway, let's go on. He says here, they trained him up 3 years old until he left them. He was an age man. He was no longer a child. He was over 40 years old. A full-fledged adult. You got a bunch of 40-year-olds running here around now acting like they're children. No sense of purpose, no sense of direction, and waiting on the government or somebody to do for them. Had they turned to Yahuah, Yahuah would have showed them how they could do it for themselves. But I digress. Here you go, Joshua chapter 11, verse 51. And he said, I beseech my Lord to hear me. Now 50 years back, a child was born unto me. And thus this is Abraham's dad talking to the king. He said, now 50 years back, a child was born to me. Thus he has done to my gods, or my Elohim. You could put in Yahuah, Shai, or Buddha, Yahushua, Jesus, yourself. And thus he has spoken. And now therefore, my Lord and King, he's talking to Nimrod, send for him that he may come before you to judge him according to the law. They love to use their illegal legal system against Yahshua. That we may be delivered from this evil, trust in man. And the king sent 3 of his servants, and they went and they brought Abraham before the king. And Nimrod and all of the princes and servants were that day sitting before him. And Terach, Abraham's father, sat also before them. And the king said to Abram, what is this that you have done to your father and to his gods, or his Elohim? And Abraham answered the king in the words that he spoke to his father. And he said, the large Elohim that was with them in the house did to them what you have heard. And the king said to Abram, had they power to speak and eat and to do as you have said? And Abram answered the king, saying, if there had been no power in them, then why do you serve them and cause the sons of men to err through your follies? We said that time and time again. If Jesus saved them, when the hell is he going to start saving? And you can change his name to anything you want to change his name. You ought to call him by his real name, Mulak, Baal Peor. Jezebel's prophets, whatever you want to call them, because it's all the same, different without a distinction. So just changing some name doesn't change the game. The team went from the Redskins to the Commanders. If you are Washington, D.C., resident, you know what I'm talking about. Still the same team, just a different name. These are con games, manipulative games to try to appease people. Make them think, oh no, it's not the same, but it is the same, brothers and sisters. Many of our people died and were hung and ravished and raped and abused, crying out for Jesus. The same Jesus these heathens won't tell you his name is Yahuah. Like if they were calling for Yahuah, they wouldn't have, had to go through all that brutality. And it's a flat out lie. And these so-called prophets and elders, or whatever the hell they call themselves, street corner fools and community idiots, will never tell you the truth, because that's the hook. That's how they distinguish themselves. And many of our people, like, sheep being led to the slaughter, run over there. Especially you men. And he said, Abraham was saying to him, well, if y'all saying that these things, if y'all calling me to court and saying that, I destroyed his gods And I'm telling you, the big one ate the little one. The Father is, and the Son is one and all the same. You know, the lies they tell about the one that's here now, the one they believe in now. He said, well, then why y'all mad at me? 1 minute you telling me this thing can bless you, then the next minute you telling me, or for a moment you finally telling the truth and say, well, when I die, there'll be a mansion waiting for me. Well, he healed me from my cancer. But you ain't going to discuss the cancer medication you were taking. I'll stop right there. Because next you'll say he created the medication. Can't please him. But he says, do you imagine that you can deliver? Do you imagine that they can deliver you or do anything small or great? He's telling this king about these gods, that you serve them. And why will you not sense the most powerful Elohim, Yahuah, of the whole universe? He said, why do you not sense his presence, who created you, and in whose power it is to kill and keep alive? It's like David said, why would we be trusting silver and gold when we could just trust the creator of the whole universe who created the silver and gold? It's perverse. It's profane. It's vulgar. It's backwards. But again, how do you convince somebody they're wrong when the very, succeeds, the very essence of what they're doing for them to be successful depends on them not believing that it's wrong? You'll just be wasting time talking to them. And most of the people out there are just time wasters. They don't mean what they say, brothers and sisters. I've been on this earth for a long time. You need to listen. I'm telling you. Most of the people you're listening to are liars. And you know it too. Hold that feet to the fire. See what they're going to do. They might try to impress you for a moment because they don't want you to know they're liars. Give them a minute. They love you till they don't. But he goes on to say, why will you not sense the power of Yahuah and the whole universe, who created you and has the power to kill or keep alive? If you're listening to me right now, you should be considering exactly the same thing. Why are you disrespecting the creator of this whole universe that has the power to keep you alive or to kill you, to provide for you, or to make sure you're one of those cannibals that's coming? Or you their meal? Deuteronomy 28:53 said man gonna eat his own children. That means women too. And some of you women, you're gonna be this man you trusting so much. He gonna kill you. Some of you, your children gonna kill you. And yeah, some of you gonna kill your children. Give it a minute. The book says so. 2 Kings chapter 6 talks about these two women that were, how you say, cooking and eating children. Their own, I might add. At least one they were planning to eat, one were planning to eat the other. They were starving to death. When you're starving to death, your brain starts to lose its ability to, it has a cognitive ability. And all of a sudden, your logic goes right out the window. And this is why, the CDC was talking about zombies. Brother Mendez and I were talking about what to do in case of a zombie attack. But they were really saying what they're going to do when people start to turn to cannibalism because they're starving. You heard me. You can hold me to it. I said it. Hold on to this video. It's not going to do you any good if you don't obey what I'm saying, though. But you can hold on to the video if you just like to say he was right. I know I'm right. because I'm getting it right out this book. That Yahuah has given it to me to articulate, to discern, and give to you. Let's continue on here. Abraham goes on to say this: "O foolish, simple, ignorant king, man, you'll destroy forever." This is the same thing I'll say to any of you out there. When you're going against Yahuah's Torah, you're going to be destroyed forever. He called him a foolish king. I call you an old foolish person. He said, "Oh, foolish, simple." I see people get mad. Why are you calling people? I don't know. Same reason why Abraham called Nimrod and his dad foolish and simple and ignorant. I'm no better than him. Verse 57 says, "I thought you would teach your servants the upright way, but you have not done this. But you have filled the whole earth with your sins and the sins of your people who have followed your ways." This is why when Proverbs, Solomon said that in Proverbs 14 and 12, it says, "A way that seems right to a man, brothers and sisters, but the end of that way is to their own destruction." This is what they're talking about. See, many of you think because this government is talking about buy this and buy that, you need to invest in this and you need to invest in that. You need to build this. You need to have a lot of that. You need to have less of that. You need to, all these things. You need to buy, this and store it up and all this stuff. The vermin's going to eat the stuff you stored up. The rats and the roaches going to eat it. Some of you have already seen rats and roaches go into your stuff, so don't play. You're storing it all up for the vermin. Vermin is insects. Again, rodents. Rodents and insects. You're storing it up for them. But because of a mind that cannot be redeemed or corrected, chastised, you're not going to listen until it's far too late. Go read the story of Joseph when he told the people to store up their food for the famine years that were coming. They did it, but they did it the way they wanted to do it. And then later on, when he opened up and started looking to get the food, the vermin were in there. They couldn't eat it. Rats, roaches, and pea and roach crap and everything under the sun was in there. And the people couldn't even eat the food. And they did all that saving, storing up food for nothing. Because they were doing it their way and not Yahuah, not the way Yahuah said to do it. They were following these prepper channels and all these preparing channels and how to store water and how to purify your water and how to do this and how to do that from a bunch of heathens who don't even know Yahuah, and you're listening to them. They're talking about Jesus or Yahuah, Yahushua, and you listening to them. So you're no less simple-minded as Nimrod and Abraham's father. You're no less simple-minded. You think because everybody else is saying it, you should be doing it. Pump and dump you. Just like they pumped you up with that other stuff and dumped you. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Verse 58. "Do you not know, or have you not heard, that this evil you do, that our ancestors sinned therein in the days of old, and the eternal Yahuah brought the waters of the flood upon them and destroyed them all, and also destroyed the whole earth on their account?" Noah is saying, if you had been listening and you had been reading the Torah, you would have been caught up in these heathens' books. You wouldn't get caught up in these heathens' lies. He said you would know, according to the Torah, that you would destroy the whole world. Only 8 people were saved. And what were they doing? The same thing that you are doing right now, that you got this whole earth doing right now. And I'll say to my brothers and sisters, same thing is happening exactly right now. The people that many of you identify as people of power or authority or influence are going to lead you straight to where they're going. And they're going to that fire. But just like he told them, y'all ain't going to listen. And I'll say the same thing to you. Many of you, you're not going to listen. You never do. You only listen to those who you believe benefits yourself. And you're getting it wrong. Jeremiah said you don't put your trust in no man. You put your trust in Yahuah, which means you put your trust in his word. You put your trust in his word means you put your trust in his prophet, who he gives the authority to share and bring forth his word. And trust me, there's a very few of them, if not just one. He said, don't you remember what happened to the people with the flood? Instead of saying that y'all don't remember this, brothers and sisters, what happened to the people with the flood? Go back and read. You might go read Joshua chapter 5, chapter 6. How those people were begging when that water started rising to Noah. Said, no, we're going to listen. We repent. Yeah, you're right about Yahuah. Yeah, we should have been stopped these ways. We should have stopped, living for ourselves. We should have changed. We should have repented. We should have been contrite. And we should have listened to you, Noah. So open up the ark. And Noah said, no, that ain't happening. It's too late. You had your chance. It's there. Read it. Because this is what Abraham is telling them, the same thing I'm telling you. Nothing new under the sun. We all know that. It's happened before. It's going to happen again. The fact that I'm here telling you is a fact. It's verification that it is happening again. And the fact that you're not listening, again, is verification that it is happening again. This is a prophecy that's being fulfilled in real time. But you don't have to question my truth. But you better question the truths of the people you're listening to, including yourself, when your truth goes against what this word says. Because you don't think it's important, or you think you could do it, your way. You're going to do it your way. And your way going to lead to your own destruction. You're going to suddenly remove his presence from you, and he's going to leave you to the wolves and to these dogs and these rats and all these other things that eat flesh, including the two-legged dogs. Please don't forget about them. Some of y'all work with them. Some of y'all live with them. Some of y'all interact with them. Some of y'all do business with them. Some of y'all, and every kind of other abominable, interaction with them. Yeah, him and her. Dog people. You got this whole world destroyed on your account. And he said, and you will, then he goes on and says, and will you and your people rise up now and do like unto this work in order to bring down the anger of Yahuah upon this whole universe and to bring evil upon you and the whole earth? And the answer is absolutely yes. You can sit here and warn, and I can warn you over and over, and you're not going to listen. So the answer is absolutely yes. You will be destroyed. Because you refuse to hear. Ezekiel said it. They hear the word, but he said you refuse to do. You hear it, but you're not going to do it. You're going to come up with your own way. Your own little money. I'm going to make my money like this. I'm going to make my money like that. And some of these heathens so wicked, they're trying to make their money off Yahuah's word. And boy, hell has enlarged itself for them devils. It's one thing to support the work of Yahuah, brothers and sisters. When you out there selling t-shirts and cups and vases and all that other shit, you know you're going to hell. Coming up with all these feasts and festival days that you charging people for Bible study classes and Bible schools and all the stuff you charging people for. Going on Patreon and having people charging you you want to get on Patreon because you pay me over there, you can really hear the secret. Just, subscribe to my website. It's only $9.99. They're going to bust hell wide open. And anyone that over there with them, you're going to go right along with them. or that fire going to expand, however you want to say it. But I don't believe in hell, folks. Do you believe fire burns? Then you're going to burn. Right along with the ones you follow. Look what Abraham goes and says, now therefore put away this evil deed which you do and serve Yahuah of this whole universe. And your soul, as your soul is in his hands, and then it will be well with you. You think that would have been enough right there for them to repent, stop, and say, okay, I get it. Prophet Abraham. Because he's talking to a king. Not being a coward. He's not being afraid. He's not, trying to appease the masses. Quite frankly, he's doing just the opposite. He's not trying to conform to get along. He's being what? A nonconformist, and he don't give a shit about getting along. He cares about the truth. And so do I. Let's go on further. He says in verse 60, he said, if your wicked heart will not hearken to my words to cause you to forsake your evil ways, and you're going to continue to serve, and you will not serve the eternal Yahuah, then you will die in shame in your latter days, or in the latter days, his latter days, these latter days. And you and your people and all who are connected with you, hearing your words, are walking in your evil ways, as I said a moment ago. Every one of those out there following these lying prophets and prophetess, claiming that Yahuah told them something to do that's not according to this word, or telling you that there's some lying book out there called the New Testament or whatever it is, that is the book that supplements or eliminates this Torah, you're going to be destroyed for following them liars. Because they believe the lie and they're teaching lies. And you don't have to take my word for it. But Yahuah says he is one Elohim. There is no other. In the book of 1 Kings chapter 18, the people told Elijah, Yahuah is Elohim. Yahuah is Elohim. And then he went and slaughtered all those Baal's prophets. All those who were believing in these other gods, or sons of gods, or women of God, or goddess. The she-gods. All those who worship them. They killed every last one of them. And then Yahuah brought forth rain. He blessed them. But for all who followed them, just like Nathan, number 16, Nathan, Abiram, and Dalton, everyone who followed them died right along with them. And nothing's going to change. A whole world, brothers and sisters, think about it, Noah's time was destroyed except for 8 people. Why? Because they thought Noah was out of his mind. Thought Noah and his grandfather Methuselah were being ridiculous, overmuch, going too far. But when that water started to rise in, and they started, drowning, lungs started, expanding and suffering and that pain of drowning, eyes bulging out, can't breathe, water, you know what I'm saying? You're struggling. You'll remember this, shitting yourself, peeing on yourself. Then you'll know you should have listened. Swallowing all the grass and whatever was floating in the water, all inside of their bodies now, choking them, strangling them. Painful death. All because they wouldn't listen. Nobody else is listening to you, so why should I? Well, that's what you get for being a follower. I better say that's what you get for following liars. Leaders who are liars. When Yahuah said, I'm going to send one after my own heart, him, listen to him. But, as they say, they'll hear the word, but they'll regret, and they won't do it, but they'll regret it, brothers and sisters. Again, Ezekiel 33 said it. Though there's a prophet, you'll know there was a prophet among you. It means that you're going to regret it. Just like Noah told him. Just like Abraham is telling him. Just like I'm telling you. And some of you who are listening, for the first time, or some of you have been listening for more than a moment. Some of you, this video was shared with you, so they're telling you. The people who share this video with you, they're telling you. But you're not going to listen to them either. Because they just got to be wrong, because what is everybody else doing? That's what you're concerned about. No Valentine's Day coming up. No. I need to get my flowers, and I need to, get my dinner and go out to the restaurant, have my dinner date, and I need to get my candy. And maybe he's going to propose to me with that cultic heathen marriage ceremonies. Maybe we're going to get engaged. Maybe hell is going to enlarge itself for you too. Don't forget that part. And when hell enlarges itself, maybe you're going to be right there with them. But I wanted to share this part, brothers and sisters, because I want to take you over to the bottom. Now, if you follow the story, you know that Abraham was thrown into the fire, and his brother was thrown into the fire, and his brother was burned to ashes. You can read about that in chapter 12, verse 26, Aaron. This is the father of Lot, because we're going to get to Lot in a moment. And you're going to see everything that Abraham told them, it happened. They couldn't kill him. They tried to. They wanted to, but they couldn't. Because Yahuah was with him. Because Abraham was standing on the Torah. When he told them about, thou shalt have no other Elohim but Yahuah, he was talking about what Exodus chapter 22 and 20 says. He was talking about Sirach 24 and 24. He was talking about Deuteronomy chapter 6 and 4, verse 5. He was talking about Isaiah chapter 43, verse 10 through 15. He was talking about Isaiah 44 and 6. So yes, he was talking about the Torah of Yahuah that's worth more than all the silver and gold. But they weren't listening, just like many of you out here. You're still not listening. You're still here, and you're still there, double-minded between two opinions. Because Yahuah is not working with you. That's why you can't make your mind up about anything. Or if you do make your mind up, you make it up about the wrong thing. Because like Abraham told Nimrod, Yahuah is going to deal with all of y'all suddenly. You and everybody that's following you. Because you guys are going against the Torah. Yahuah said, Elohim Yahuah is one Elohim. He's not a man. He's not the son of man. Numbers 23:19 says it. But I've also given you other precepts that said it. What did Isaiah 28:11 say? Line upon line, precept on. He went all the way through. Reminder. What did Deuteronomy 19 and 15 say? Let everything be established by what? 2 or 3 witnesses. I've given you the witnesses, the precepts. And that's not going to change any mind out there whose mind is already made up that you're right and I'm wrong. And I know it. Abraham didn't change Nimrod's mind. They just got angry with him. Tried to kill him. Killed his brother. Brother brought it on himself. His brother was double-minded. When you're being double-minded, 2 places at the same time, you're going to bring Yah's wrath upon yourself. I've warned you about that many, many times. Some of you listen, most of you are not. But Abraham held his ground, and look what happened. Let's drop down to verse, Joshua chapter 12, verse 33. And when Abraham came out, this is when he's coming out of the fire, because the king tried to kill him. He said, when Abraham came out, the king and all his servants saw Abraham coming before the king, and with his lower garments upon him, and they were not burned, but the cord which was bound was burned. And the king said to Abraham, verse 34, how is it that you were not burned in the fire? And Abraham said to the king, the Elohim of heaven and earth, in whom I trust, and who has all power, he delivered me from the fire, into which you threw me in. And Haran, the brother of Abraham, was burned to ashes. For they sought for his body, but they couldn't find him. He was consumed. And Haran was 82 years old when he died in the fire of Casdim. And the king, the princes, and all the inhabitants of the land, seeing that Abraham was delivered from the fire, they came and they bowed down to Abraham. Why? Because, see, Abraham stood on Yah's Torah. Nothing happened to him. And now, guess what? That silver and gold ain't helping, but because now what they're realizing is that the word of Yahuah is greater than silver and gold. Get it? But we don't even have to stop. Let's go a little bit farther. Not only did they bow down to Abraham, check this out, brothers and sisters, 38. And Abraham said to them, do you not bow down? He said, do not bow down to me, but bow down to the Almighty Yahuah of the whole world, and who made you, and serve him, and going his ways, which is the Torah. For it is he who delivered me from out of this fire, and it is he who created the souls and the spirits of all men, and formed man in his mother's womb, and brought him forth into this world. And it is he who will deliver those who trust in him from all the pain. Not your doctors, not your counselor, not your money manager. They're going to deliver you to nothing. And damn sure not yourself. My dear brothers and sisters. Just I call you dear brother and dear sister, that's just a term of endearment. That does not make, you special before Yahuah. You're only special before Yahuah when you keep these commandments. Let's go a little bit further. Verse 39. He says, and if this thing seemed very wonderful in your eyes, or very wonderful in the eyes of the king and princes, then Abraham was saved from the fire, that Abraham was saved from the fire, and that Haran was burned, because Haran was between two opinions. And the king gave Abraham many presents. This is the part. See, this part, right here. He didn't get his silver and gold, brothers and sisters, by going against the Torah. He got blessed for keeping the Torah. And the very people who were trying to kill him, the wealth of the wicked, is the one who Yahuah used to bless him. Stored up for the just. So when David said, I don't put my trust in no silver and gold because it ain't worth more than the Torah. And what's interesting about this, brothers and sisters, think about it. You don't have to, have a financial manager or a market manager or stock or IPOs or silver or gold. You don't even have to be in a situation where you're saying, if I had, this Torah is available to all of us. This word is available to all of us. And guess what? It only costs you what you're willing to put in it. The same David that said in Psalms 119 that the Torah of Yahuah is worth thousands of silvers and gold. It's the same David that said, I will ask Yahuah of nothing that did not cost me something. You can read about that in 1 Chronicles. When David counted the people. And wasn't supposed to count the people. And his master builder wanted to give him some things free. David said, no, we're going to do this the right way. You charge me the right price. I will never ask something of Yahuah that costs me nothing. And he was talking about resources. But let's continue on. He says in verse 40. Verse 39. And if this thing seems very wonderful in your eyes, talking about Yah's power to deliver, Yahuwah's power to deliver, in your eyes of the kings and the princes, that Abraham was saved from the fire and that Haran was burned because he was between two opinions. The king is right, I'm going to serve the king. If Abraham's right, I'm going to serve Abraham's God. That's many of you. I'm going to serve Jesus and God. I'm going to serve, that's the word they use, serving Jesus and God, Yahuah and Yahuwah. No, you're not. You're just serving yourself. Because Yahuwah can't save and Yahuwah won't hear your prayers. Abraham was saved because of Yahuah and what he believed and what he stood on. And now he's about to be blessed for it. Because look what verse 40 says. Back, pick up 39. And Abraham was saved from the fire that Haran was burned, and the king gave Abraham many presents, and he gave him his 2 head servants from the king's house. The name of one was Onah, and the other name was Eleazar. So if you wonder where Eleazar came from, he came as a gift, as a blessing to Abraham from Nimrod for standing on Yahuwah's Torah. Abraham, Yahuwah blessed him. He was a gift from Nimrod, but he was a blessing from Yahuwah. Eleazar did a lot of good things for Abraham, if you guys remember. Eleazar was who went got Rebekah for Isaac when he was grieving for the death of his mother. It was Eleazar that was debating with Isaac on who was going to get with Ishmael, who was going to get the wealth when they believed that Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac. Eleazar went to war with Abraham, helped Abraham fight. Eleazar did a lot of great things, brothers and sisters. Now that's what a righteous heathen is. He will be submitted and he will stay in his place. To the man of Yahuwah. And he gave him his 2 servants. We read that, verse 40. And the kings and the princes and the servants gave Abraham many gifts of silver and gold and pearl, and the king and all his princes, and he sent him away. You see how it comes together, brothers and sisters? Look what it says. I'm reading to you. And the kings and the princes and the servants gave Abraham many gifts of silver and gold and pearl. And the king and his princes sent him away, and he went away in peace. So what do you think your best, investment ought to be if you want to use that term? What do you think your mind should be? What do you think you should be concerned about? If you really want to be blessed, you think you should be trusting these heathens and talking about the silver and gold, or should you be trusting the creator of all things, including the silver and gold? One just costs the obedience. The other is just a Ponzi scheme, a pump and dump. In corporate America, every now and then when I was trying to get somebody to understand the value of a decision, I would use, this little metaphor. I'll ask them, I say, well, what do you think is the most important, the goose or the golden eggs for which the goose laid? And brothers and sisters, to my surprise, 9 out of 10 people would tell me, that's an interesting number, 9 out of 10. We know about that number. I say, if you had to choose the goose that laid the golden eggs or the golden eggs, which would you choose? Can't have them both. 9 out of 10 would say the golden eggs. And I would say, no. Think about the question. I say, no, you answering before you're not listening. What you're doing is you're answering the question without reflecting upon what you're being asked. This is how most people read the Torah. They just read right through it. They don't reflect on it. They don't meditate on it. And that's why you'll never be changed by it. But I would ask them, and I'm telling you, the egg, the golden egg, I say, well, I probably have to say, okay, let me just stop this because it's not working. I say, you should have said the goose that lays the golden egg, because these golden eggs, eventually you'll use that up. But if you got the goose that lays the golden eggs, then that means, guess what? They're going to keep on reproducing of itself. So this Torah, the blessing is going to produce of itself. When you go out there and look for men to give you things and trust these heathen gods for the things that they are possessing and controlling and using to control you, then it's only going to be a matter of time before they're going to own you outright. You're going to be indebted to them. And you're going to end up in some situation where you're going to have to compromise yourself to survive. And some of you are already in situations like that. It's wrong, but you're stuck. And this is why Yahuwah tells us, no, we put our trust in him. What the Proverbs 3 and 5 says. Trust in Yahuah with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he'll direct you. We trust in him. Put our trust in Yahuah. Trusting him means trusting his Torah. Trusting him means trusting the word that he's putting in the mouth of his prophet as it relates to his Torah. Trusting him is being obedient. Trusting in him, it means that you are willing to do the heavy lifting. You're willing to put the work in, the effort in, to redirect, to refocus, which means to repent. Trust in him is that you're not double-minded. You're only doing it because people are looking. What do you do when they're not looking? That's the very essence of what your integrity is. The true integrity of character is someone who do the right thing, whether people are looking or not. Nobody's looking at me right now. I'm here all by myself doing this. Hello? Hear the echo? But Yahuah is here. You're here. So I guess I'm not alone, am I? But then again, if you're not listening, what does it matter to you? And Yahuah was blessed. He blessed him, just like he said he would. Now look at verse 41. Not only did Abraham go in peace, so Abraham went forth from the king in peace, and many of the king's servants followed him. About 300 men journeyed up with Abraham. You see, the righteous know right. The righteous ain't going to follow the wicked. The righteous are going to line themselves up with righteousness. It's like those 600 men who followed David out from Saul. These men said, no, this man is of Yahuah, and I'm going to stand with him. And wherever he go, I'm going. I'm going to stand right there with him. Fight with him, live with him, grow with him, and be blessed with him. So yes, don't waste your time. You could go read a little bit further up and you'll see that, Lot and Abraham had a dispute. And Lot, was so caught up, he forgot all about the trouble his father got in, because Lot was the son of Haran. And Lot started looking at, Abraham was being blessed being with Abraham, but you know how they are. After a while they get jealous. There are people who are with you, when who start to bless you, they get jealous, brothers and sisters. Men get jealous of men, women get jealous of women. Some women get jealous of men, and some men get jealous of women. When Yahuah is blessing them, just the way it is. Lot started to get envious, stopped listening to Abraham. So Abraham had to get to the place and say, look, you're causing way more trouble than you were, Lot. So I tell you what, why don't you just pick where you want to be, and we're going to separate, because I'm going to go my way, you go your way. Because you're full of confusion. Your heart is not right. And to prove that Lot's heart wasn't right, Lot looked over at Sodom and Gomorrah, and he said, I'm going over there. And he decided to go to Lot. Voluntarily went to Sodom and Gomorrah. At least he went to the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Chasing the bag. So the land over there had a lot of water and it was very healthy, and that's where he ran. And we know how that story ended. In the total destruction for Lot and everything he had, because he was chasing silver and gold instead of chasing Yahuah's word, instead of being submissive and obedient. Standing with the righteous man, he decided to stand alone. It was a mistake for him, and if you're doing it, it's a mistake for you. You'll say, I'm going to raise up for you a prophet from among your brethren, like unto yourself. To him, I want you to listen to him. And if you don't listen to him, I'm going to what? Hold you accountable for it. That's Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse, That's Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 18 and 19. Read it for yourself. We read it Wednesday night. So if you're going to choose, if you really want to be blessed, if you really want to see the power of Yahuah in your life, if you really want to be out of this system, if you don't want to be destroyed when Yahuah destroys everything around us, brothers and sisters, then your opportunity to do that is right now. There's no more time for thinking about it. I'm gonna consider it, maybe, maybe not. You know, I'm just gonna see what happens first. Then you're gonna be too late. My job is to warn you. Say, son of man, you go tell my people. And that's what I'm doing. Son of Adam, go tell them. Perchance they might listen. Perchance you might listen. Only you know the answer to that question. But never forget, there's nothing greater than Yahuah's Torah. Not now, not tomorrow, not forever. Some of this message, share it. And y'all willing, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Shabbat. Shalom, Yashua.